Hello, Days of Our Lives fans. Please like, subscribe, and share. It's finally Friday, October the 11th. Have a great weekend, and thanks for watching. So, Fiona runs into Sophia, and Sophia seems to think Fiona's her little gal pal that gives a rat's butt about her little dealings. But she's like, hey, why don't you come into the bistro and I'll fill you in what's going on in my love life. And she's like, no, I don't have time. And she's like, oh, about that guy you liked? And she said, yeah, him and his girlfriend broke up. And she's like, okay, sit down, tell me all about it. So they sat down, and she picked up that Holly was Holly Jonas, and she clarified that with her. And she said, yeah, I just live with her, so whatever. But she said, yeah, she broke up with him right in front of me, and she told him why and everything. And she's like, we were all just shocked, and she even seemed shocked. She's hella shocked. And Fiona's like, yes, hella. Like she knew what that meant. Hey, I'm older, and I know what it means. And she tells her, she said, I can come in here and I can fix you one of those martinis. And she went nasty on her, man. She went beasto mode on her and said, you listen to me, young lady. I want to tell you this. I am not some little airheaded schoolgirl with a crush on a boy. I don't want anyone to know I had that martini. My family thinks I'm not drinking. I'm sober. And I can't let them find out any different. So you just better keep your mouth shut. And Sophia's like, I'm not going to tell anyone. And she's like, oh, okay. All right then. Okay, so later, when Sophia sees Tate, he tells her that he just found out Holly was in Paris, which I haven't went over that yet. But, and she's like acting all supportive. Well, I hope she gets her head straightened out and gets the answer she needs about her dad. And Tate's like, you really do care about her, don't you? And she said, well, I know we don't get along, but yeah, I really do care about her. Meanwhile, Chad and Fabby are in Paris, and she's busy stringing him along because she's got to get a ring on his finger. So she convinces him she's got some memories here, and she wants to get married. She wants to get married here in Paris without anyone. But I don't know how that's going to go, because Chad was saying, but our family and our children, and I've seen some spoilers where JJ comes home to actually perform the wedding. So that doesn't sound right to me. So I don't know what's going to happen. But she wants to get married in Paris, of course. Well, Holly is also in Paris, just like Chad and Fabby. She's went to see Nicole to listen to her apologize. So Maggie is talking to Holly on the phone. She just got there. She's waiting for Nicole to meet her in a restaurant. Of course, they never show Nicole. And she ends up getting off the phone with her. She's staying at a hotel real close to where Nicole lives. And she's going to stay there for a few days. So anyway, she seems to be doing pretty well. Meanwhile, Tate walks up, and he's talking to Maggie, and he's like, well, can I ask you, Holly didn't come to school today, and I was worried about her. And she said, oh, well, she's all right, wondering if she was all right. And she said, yeah, she's all right. She's in Paris visiting with her mother, and I just got off the phone with her, so she's doing fine. And he said, oh, okay, well, that makes sense then. And he tells Maggie about them breaking up and why they broke up, and she didn't know anything about him breaking into Brady's room and trying to steal stuff, but she did caution him about Sophia's involvement, because he's like, well, Sophia's been great. She's a real comfort. She loves Holly, even though they don't get along. And she's like, I wouldn't trust Sophia. So she's like, yeah, doesn't he have feelings for you? Anyway, Holly is calling Maggie back, so she tells Tate she has to take this phone call. So she takes the phone call, and Holly's a little upset. She said it was rough talking to her mom. All she did was apologize. She feels a little bit better, but it's pretty much the same. So she's just going to hang out there for a while. So she's in Paris. Fabby also went to get her wedding dress, and she stepped outside and got on the phone. So she's telling her brother things are a go with Chad. This plan's going to work. And who walks by and sees her and hears her? Holly. Holly stands there and looks at her and listens to her conversation. So Xander goes to tell Kristen, I did what you asked. We recounted her statement about Brady, and she's like, good, when's Brady getting out of jail? And he's like, oh, I'm not sure when, but we did what you asked, so can I have the serum? Show me to Dr. Roth. And she's like, let me call EJ and see when Brady's going to be getting out of jail. And she picks up the phone and she finally gets EJ. She's like, EJ, it's Kristen. I'm glad I caught you. And then Xander got the phone out of her hand. And she's like, I knew you were lying to me. And he said, EJ doesn't want to do it. And she tells him the whole spiel. And she's like, well, y'all have to go on social media and say how the DA's refusing to get rid of the testimony that Sara misspoke and they're holding an innocent man in jail. He doesn't want to do all that crap. Well, he's telling her, he's like, look, we just don't want to do all that crap. Now we did what you asked. I can't help it that your brothers, got a hold on everything. And she's like, yes, you have to do the things I said. And he's like, look, Sara, she's a good person. She deserves, to get the serum and be able to walk again. She's got a little girl. And Kristen grabbed him and she said, let me tell you, Brady's got a daughter too, Rachel. And her father's about to go to prison for 10 years. Now you get him out or you're not going to get the serum. And then he said, well, where is Rachel? It'd be a shame if she disappeared. And she grabbed him, man, and she said, if you harm a hair on my daughter's head, there'll be no place you can hide. All of the Demera power will go behind destroying you and your life. And he's like, all right. And he said, but, still, it's your brother's fault. I can't help that he won't change his mind. So then Kristen's talking to the picture of Stephanos, saying, what are you looking at? You would have done the same thing. And then she cheered a drink to him, saying, well, cheers. I know you would understand why I did it. I did it for my daughter, for the man I love, and the father of my daughter. Well, Xander's beside himself, and he goes to find Maggie, and he's headed home, and he sees Victoria and Maggie. And he's telling Maggie, Kristen has a cure for Sara's paralysis, where she could walk again, and she's taking it hostage. She won't let us have it. And Maggie's just looking at her like she's crazy or something. He's crazy or something. That's all we see of them talking about that for today. And then here's Eric. He is gone to talk to Sara, and he's telling her, just tell me the truth. Stop it. Stop that. And she's like, what in the world would make you think I was covering for Fiona? She had nothing to do with it. And he said, she did. And she said, well, what would ever make you think that Fiona had anything to do with whoever hit me? And he said she was with him that night. And she said, well, what makes you think that? Did she tell you that? And he said, no. The bartender told me they left together. She claims they took separate rides after they left. And she's like, you've already talked to her about it? And he said, yes. And she's like, oh, no. She's like, I don't know where you get that idea, but if it was Fiona, I still wouldn't cover for her like that. So Eric says, all right, whatever, and he leaves. He's going to keep investigating. Well, then Sara starts having fuzzy memories, and it flashes back in her head, and there it is, Fiona. She sees her. She remembers her. It was her. She knows it. She yells, oh, my God, and turns around just as Fiona is walking in the room, and that is how it ended today, Friday, October the 11th. All right, so we had 2 or 3, endings, right? Cliffhangers. All right, see you Monday. And that is a